Hi, it's Yay Nakonakoni here, and today I wanted to do the most popular trend in K-pop YouTube, and that is the unpopular opinions trend. Woo! And just a disclaimer, I don't mean any hate towards any idols. I don't mean any hate towards any groups. I just am simply stating my opinions on things that happen in the K-pop world. And yeah, let's get into it. First, I wanted to bring up something that's probably like not that unpopular, but the fact that groups are becoming less and less unique now, especially boy groups. And I hate to be like offensive towards boy groups or boy group stans. I am not a boy group stan. I'm a girl group stan. But I did start off as being a boy group stan. I didn't really particularly like girl group stans until I became like a freshman in high school. And I think it was honestly, it was probably internalized misogyny, not gonna lie, but that's not what this opinion is about. It's mostly, it's just like I find that a lot of the boy groups now have been extremely bland and not at all unique and all have the same type of concept and everything. I it's just their music and the way that they look and the concepts, they all have the same formula. It gets tiring and repetitive seeing a new group debut or one having a comeback with the same black harnesses and leather pants as all of the other groups. When I'm watching like Mnet or the show or any of the performance shows that they do, I'm like, okay, so that's the same, that's the same, that's the same. I'm like, I'm bored. And I don't want to bring up this group to like offend them or anything because I'm not a stan. I don't know them. I don't know any of their stans or anything. And I don't know how to pronounce their name. I think it's Epex, or Apex or something like that. EPEX. But that's kind of what really brought out me wanting to make this like opinion, I guess. I really thought that their debut was so, and I hate to say this word, but bland. It was not unique. It was not fun. I mean, it could be fun. It might just be my opinion that I just didn't like it because I really have no specific like qualities that I like in music. If I like it, I like it. And I just didn't like it. And it just, I don't know. But one example of a boy group who I did like this year that debuted was, I think, is it Kingdom? They had a really cool, unique concept and they made it work. And that's kind of something that I miss about older K-pop. And I don't want to be like, oh my god, second gen, third gen's the best. But I mean, I got into K-pop in 2013. I saw all these unique concepts that were coming out and or had come out, and when I was like catching up or learning about things and that like happened in K-pop before I got into it, I was like, wow, these concepts are really cool. And Kingdom just kind of reminds me of that. Like, I really miss when K-pop groups would go deep into a concept. And it wouldn't be like, oh, these music video theories and stuff. It would be like, yeah, this is some cool stuff. This is like one example that would be like really interesting to like look at now is Girls' Generation's music video for, I think it was Hoot, where they're all different characters and like, I don't know, it's like a really cool story in their music video. But yeah, Um, everything just seems kind of boring and flat now. And I just kind of miss the time when K-pop was more unique. Self-proclaimed orbit. However, when it comes to the group Luna, I find that it is extremely hard to fit in with other orbits simply because I don't understand the Loonaverse and I kind of refuse to study it. I love the members, I love their music, and I love their concept too. But in all honesty, trying to become a full blown orbit is really difficult because of the Loonaverse. There are so many theories and additions to the Loonaverse, but which seems to be every single day. When I am scrolling through Twitter, I always see somebody type out a whole essay about the Loonaverse, and I am so confused. I don't want to study and learn it simply because I am a college student and I have enough things going on in my mind already. And trust me, I know myself, I will be sitting in a test about art history, and I will probably be sitting there thinking about the Loonaverse, and it's just probably it wouldn't be a good thing for my grades and my career. But I do love the girls, and I love that they have a unique concept, which obviously, like I said, is something that is less common in the K-pop industry right now. I just think that this unique concept is really hard to get into and really hard to follow. I could do it, but it's simply because I have too many things going on in my head that I don't think that I really should.
We are changing to robot voice because my recordings keep glitching. Idols that are under the age of 16 should not be able to debut, and training shouldn't be allowed until maybe 15 years old. It has always bothered me to see young idols debut because I know that they never were able to have a normal childhood. Take Yeri from Red Velvet, for example. She debuted at 16 but trained for 4 years, so she was 12 when she joined SM Entertainment, making her an actual child. Irene and Sulgi noticed how she wasn't experiencing a normal childhood, so they took her under their wing and played with her and took care of her like mothers. I think this is sweet of them to do, but I do not think that it is their responsibility to make sure that a younger trainee or member feels like they can have a normal childhood while still being a trainee. I also think that underage idols get way too sexualized because it is seen as beautiful to have youthful looks, specifically in Korea. If we take Wonyoung from IZ*ONE, who debuted at 14 or 15 years old, she is extremely talented and beautiful, but she is still a child. She was voted as one of the top 10 most popular female idols amongst male soldiers in Korea. These soldiers are more than likely around the ages of 20 to 30, meaning these adult men are looking to a child to look at in a certain way. It is known that men in the army in Korea are typically sexually frustrated because they are not around females on a daily basis, so they look towards female idols to release their frustrations. Wonyoung being on the top 10 is disgusting and pedophilic behavior. YG is planning on debuting a new K-pop girl group with the youngest age average out of any K-pop group. This is problematic because as a trend we have seen time and time again young female idols being sexualized by older perverted men, and companies like YG are just feeding their predatory ways. I have noticed that many fandoms tend to think that their faves are being mistreated just because they do not have comebacks as often as others, or they get delayed. There are groups out there that are actually being mistreated with things such as abuse or usual assault. There are times when mistreatment is not as serious as legal issues, yes, such as GOT7 when they were in JYP, because Park Jin-young will always be jealous of his male idols because their popularity is more than he ever was, so he sabotages their careers. These are the terrible acts that come to my mind when I hear the word mistreatment. This is not a jab at Blackpink or Blinks, as I am one, but this is most common within this fandom in particular. I want to say that YG knows what they are doing when it comes to promoting our girls. They keep them locked up in the dungeon to create the need for more content, so when they do have their comebacks fans go crazy, so they stream and buy many albums. It is not mistreatment but a marketing strategy.
The The immediate canceling of idols for doing or saying one wrong thing is harmful. Idols are typically people who were born and raised in Korea or in countries that don't have other minorities surrounding them. It is easy for them to say things or do things that could be problematic because they simply didn't know that it would be problematic. There are also times where styling for a concept or a comeback could be perceived as problematic that was not meant to be problematic. One example of this would be Yua's Bon Voyage face paint. This concept was meant to be something akin to Greek nymphs that are one with nature. Personally, what I think happened was that the makeup team or whoever deals with this type of styling drew inspiration from Native American face paint because they are depicted as being more in tune with nature than some other cultures. They probably didn't research enough to fully understand what face paint means to the Native American culture, but that was not Yua's fault. The concept was beautiful along with the face paint that was put on her. There is no excuse for the team to not research properly. However, what I think happened was that they found something that they liked and didn't push further into research, which I get because sometimes when I write a paper for one of my college classes or I do homework and I have to look up something for it, I am either rushed for time or I just don't care enough to look into more information, so I simply don't and just move on. Of course, this can get me bad grades, sometimes it doesn't, so when things like styling for a comeback turns problematic, I can see how sometimes it's great and how sometimes it fumbles. But if it ever comes out that an idol was actively trying to appropriate or harm a community, then they deserve the canceling. Lastly, I believe that Lana should be seen as an idol and should be given the same opportunities. She has worked hard to debut but received an immense amount of hate from international fans. Her dance and singing abilities may not be the best, however, it is obvious that she is a talented woman. There is a difference between her and Kachi in the fact that she trained in Korea under a company and took the time to become fluent in Korean. I really do not understand how it is different for her and Fatu of Black Swan. Fatu is not Asian either, but most international stans support her. She is just a woman with the dream of being an entertainer with an interest in Korean culture and the life of K-pop idols. That is all for this video, girlies, used as a gender-neutral term. Remember, these are just my opinions and I am a nobody from the middle of nowhere, so please do not hate me. I hope anyone who sees this has a great week and that something good happens to you. Bye.